From the Side podcast is delighted to be supported by our two main podcast sponsors, Fields Joinery and AFC Knowsley. Fields Joinery is one of the arms of the Fields Property Group, and whether you are a commercial or a residential customer, no job is too small for these guys. If you are watching on YouTube, all of their social and website links are on the screen now. However, if you are an audio-only listener of the podcast, do head over to fieldspropertygroup.co.uk. That's fieldspropertygroup.co.uk. This is where you can find all of their social links and get in touch if you do need any work doing. Do not forget, no job is too small for these guys, and we would like to thank Fields Joinery for sponsoring the podcast from day one, because it really does go a long way. We'd also like to thank AFC Knowsley for sponsoring the podcast. AFC Knowsley is a fantastic grassroots football club which has teams ranging from age 6 all the way up to the first team, including a disability team and a women's football team also. All teams play out of the Lord Derby Pavilion in Huyton, which is a £1.6 million complex, which is a fantastic addition to the grassroots football scene within this city. AFC Knowsley have also been kind enough to allow us to use their facilities to continue recording our podcasts on a weekly basis with all of our fantastic guests. I think you'll agree they look absolutely fantastic on camera and they're even better in person. So if you do have a spare weekend, do get down to the Lord Derby Pavilion and support this fantastic local grassroots football club. If you are watching on YouTube, all of their social and website links are on the screen now. However, if you are an audio-only listener of the podcast, do head over to afcknowsley.co.uk. That's afcknowsley.co.uk. From the Side podcast, we'd like to extend its thanks again to Fields Joinery and AFC Knowsley for supporting the podcast from day one. It really does go a long way, and we hope that you enjoyed the episode. Hello and welcome to the From the Side podcast, the podcast focusing on the grassroots football in and around the city. If you're a regular listener of the podcast, which you've got quite a few of them now, you'll notice something a little bit different. So I'm not sat next to me trusty steed Jay. I'm sat next to Dean. And that's because how are you anyway, Firsty?
I'm good. How are you two?
He's scared.
I thought it'd be a good idea, but different this.
But yeah, today's episode we are interrogating Jay.
It will be an interrogation as well.
We're going right back to the beginning, you know. Right back to nappies.
For those who don't know, Jay is a coach. He's the only coach in the podcast. I'm just a fat lad who likes footy. And Jay's going to get interrogated about his coaching journey, his grassroots story, some juicy gossip as well from some clubs. We're definitely going to get that out of there. And yeah, so first question, Jay. Tell us about how you got into coaching.
I got into coaching, so it was around when I went to college. So I went to college, the LFC Foundation college, so what is now the Stephen Gerrard Academy. It was around about then, so I went to college late, like a late bloomer. Went when I was about 17, 18, so it was around about then. So wasn't great at football, I won't lie. Wasn't the best player, so the only way to really stay involved in footy was to go down a coaching route. And when I started that college, working with the coaches in there who were coaching us, like we'd have Tom Culshaw, who until recently was at Aston Villa with Gerrard, and we had Todd Blaney, who's the Bearsco first team manager and has got his A licence and stuff like that now. So we had like a good bank of coaches, and just getting them, watching them really was when I thought, yeah, that's my route of staying involved in footy. Because like I said, I wasn't a fantastic player, and with the knees that I've got, playing footy just doesn't appeal to me.
Did you play at all?
Yeah, I did, but not down in like clubs or anything like that.
Just Sunday League as a kid.
So I played for like in Knowsley. There's like Western Juniors, Knowsley, obviously AFC Knowsley where we are now, and like I played for a team called St Anne's Rovers when I was a proper kid, but I never went to like development days at Liverpool and stuff, but just got ultimately told to fuck off.
Even on the Sunday League, seeing St Anne's, because I played against St Anne's when I was a kid, and he always had good sides. He was one of them like really well-run Sunday League sides that you see. So no Sunday League sides, like Netherley Legion, I think. I played for the Legion when I was a kid, and they were always a well-run, charter standard club. And I always saw St Anne's as one of the best sides in Liverpool for kids. There was always, like, your top sides in Liverpool were always Crosby Stewart, Country Park, St Anne's, Allerton. Always had boss teams. So you must have been an alright Sunday League player. Or am I bigging you up too much?
That's what others decide, and I'm not going to sit here and say that I can't fucking fantastic. When we played on a Monday, I was fucking fantastic, but the caliber of the lads there.
Yeah, he's played against you like me.
Yeah, so, do you know what I mean? But yeah, going back to that college, it was more looking at the coaches and the sessions that they put on and how they'd sit there and they'd make sure that the sessions were relatable and realistic and stuff. That was when I thought, yeah, that's my route of staying in footy.
So when you went from, so did you stay there for 2 years or 1 year?
You couldn't get rid of me, to be fair. I done 2 years, so I done a BTEC and then an MVQ, and then I done a foundation degree linked in with them. So they give me like a placement to do my coaching degree.
Where was that?
The coaching degree was at the University of South Wales, online degree, and then you had to go to Cardiff and stuff to do your coaching modules and to be evaluated on like your event planning and stuff like that.
And was it a bit like more like a professional environment going down there and getting like a good basis? Because you were learning like coaching pedagogy and stuff like that by then.
It was the environment you were in, so it was run by the Football League Trust. So you were with clubs with like Wolves, Rochdale, Blackburn, Burnley, but all their like trusts and community hubs had all bought into this. So it was like teams like all over, like southern teams. There was Arsenal, or like really good clubs who were sending obviously students down to do this course, and it was full on. It was like 3 days where you'd have to go. You'd have to be involved in the sessions, and then at some point you could just turn around and go, like, come on, you go and deliver your session now. And then you just got to do it like that. So you've got to prepare it and plan it and send it in. It's got to be authorised, right? This is what I'm doing. Or why are you doing that? You've got to have your rationale behind it. And yeah, it was hard. I come away with the first though.
I can't. I only got a 2-2 on my degree, so I can't say nothing.
What was it like then working, you just mentioned like Tom Culshaw and that, and obviously you've now stepped into coaching now. Culshaw's obviously won the league at Rangers with Gerrard, he went into Villa, before obviously what's happened to them with them getting dismissed and stuff. How was it to learn from someone like Tom Culshaw who has worked with Gerrard before and then he's passing down that knowledge onto you?
Tom's mad. Tom's like, he's fucking hilarious, to be fair. He doesn't take life dead serious, but his sessions are spot on. They're always like related. So say I played for Tom's team and we went to Madrid and stuff, and so say like we'd play on a Wednesday, and then on the Thursday he'd know what we were doing in training on the Monday. Does that make sense? So we only trained Monday, Tuesday afternoons, games on Wednesday, recovery session on the Thursday. So he'd know Wednesday night what we were going to be doing, and he'd tell us on Thursday, right, this is what we're doing on Monday. So it was all planned, and it was all like the way he prepared it, and the way it was all just, you knew. Do you know what I mean? That's something that I looked at and thought, yeah, that's something that if I do go into it, that's what I want to be doing.
So from Liverpool, you went to America, yeah?
Yeah, I went and done 4 months, I think it was, with Challenger. So basically like footy camps, but different place every week. Home staying with families, but getting paid for it as well. So you go and you've got to drive. Like I got there on the Saturday night, slept in a hotel. Sunday morning I was told, right, you've got to go and drive 9 hours from one end of from Atlanta to the other end of Florida on the southernmost point, Sanibel Island it's called. It's like most southern point, I think it is. And you just got, and like literally it's just, you're told, you're given all your gear, right, there you go and drive for 9 hours. And then literally an hour outside of where I was, I had to stop off at one of the regional director's friend's house who was putting me up for the night because I drove for that long. And then I had to do an hour to that, get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, do another hour to my first camp, and then coach for 6 hours on a one-man camp. So like you can fly over there and everyone, and to be fair, unbelievable experience. I'm not trying to put people off, but you've got to be prepared to go and say, well, I'm going to be on my own in a hotel all week. And I'm going to be coaching 16 kids on my own. Do you know what I mean? It's not. And it is brilliant, and it makes you fucking work a lot out about yourself as a person and as a coach, because you're over there on your own and you're doing something away from out your comfort zone and that. But it's hard because you're away from everyone. So it's not all, I can go over with my mate and I can coach. I know 3 lads who went over. We were all based in different places each week. We only ever met so you have this like hotel that it's called like a base hotel. So like you drive back to the base hotel if you need something like in Atlanta and that. And sometimes they'd say, right, everyone back to the base hotel, we'll do 2 days here, and then you'll go all your separate ways. That's the only time you'd ever see anyone who you know. But then there's times where I was on Fort Bragg, largest military base in the world. It's literally like a city inside the city, where there was 15 of us doing a camp with like 300 kids. That was unbelievable.
See, I think kids going into coaching should have an experience like that. I mean, obviously, that's quite a unique experience going all the way to America, and you don't really hear of, or I don't anyway, and I'm in coaching education, I don't really hear of challenger sports anymore, to be honest. But I think every kid who wants to go into coaching, especially at that age, should have an experience of, there's 15 kids on your own. Not only have you got to teach them how to play football and coach, but you've got to engage them as well.
I think every kid should have an opportunity to go abroad and do something. So there's like, you can do Camp America, Challenger Sports, but I think there should be something. So if you want to be a bricklayer, there should be a scheme where you can go and say, there probably is, that I just don't know, but there should be like a scheme where you can go and say, right, I want to be a bricklayer, I want to go to Australia for 6 months. Sound, come on. Do you know what I mean? Obviously there's more to it, and there's a lot of fucking funding and all that has to go into it, and a lot of fucking shit. But I think every kid should have that opportunity. It should be something that is pushed, and I don't think it is enough.
No, I agree, to be fair. So when you got back from America, what then?
Before I went to America, I was helping Todd, actually, with SCEM 18s. So, funnily enough, I got offered, I went into college for something, and Dave James, who was one of the, I think he was one of the higher ups there, he just pulled me, and he knew that I wanted to do coaching and stuff. He said, I've got an opportunity for you there. Go and manage SCEM United 18s. And at the time, I wasn't
How old were you at this point, sorry?
19, 20.
And you were going to manage people your own age,
19,
basically?
20, potentially 21.
Yeah.
It was when the first year of the college, of my degree, so I would have been about 21, something like that. And it was literally just would you be interested? And I said, I wouldn't be interested in managing it, like, it's a lot, you know what I mean? And I actually rang Todd and said to Todd, would you be interested in doing it, and I'll help you? And he took him a couple of days, and he made the decision, and then we went in there. We were there for about a year. With the politics that was going on with SCEM at the time, with the first team manager and the board and the fella who was running the academy, it was mad. So the fella who was running the academy wanted to take over the actual football club, but then, and he didn't want us affiliated with the football club because we knew Todd knew the first team manager, Alan Rodgers, at the time. So the academy side didn't want us affiliated with the club apart from name, and didn't want us speaking or involving the first team manager with the lads that we had. Honestly, it was
so
mad.
You meant to push lads from the academy.
Exactly, it was mad. But the politics, due to that, we ended up getting asked to leave. Which was rough, to be fair, because we fourth in the Youth Alliance. We did 2 cup semi-finals, and then they just randomly got a text one day saying, no, we don't need you anymore. Like, they booted us out of the league and everything. And then I went to America after that, and I actually got a phone call in America, or a text, off Nick Matthews, so he used to be the Bearsco manager recently at Everton LR. I got a text, or somehow he got in touch with me saying he had a development squad at Widnes, that he wanted to set a development squad up. So I ended up speaking to him on the phone, said I was interested. And then when I got back, again went and met him, and he said he had another lad who he wanted me to do it with. Fucking mad. Caleb Jones. You know Caleb?
Know of Caleb, yeah.
Know of Caleb.
Yeah.
Now Caleb is all day. Caleb's sound, like he's such, like, he's got such a kind heart, and he's a lovely lad.
Doesn't look like a
but he's just mad.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Like, he's just mad. Like he's got his own way of doing things, and it works for him. And
the one thing you can say about him is he's carved a career for himself.
Yeah,
like he's actually out and about coaching some half-decent sides.
He does, and he puts a lot of effort in. And fair play to the lad, because he does Saturday and Sunday, and he's done that for years. But joint manager with Caleb. And again, I'm not slagging him off, because I actually like Caleb, but he's mad. Like, he's mad on the side. He's mad to deal with. he's a bit full on for me. Like, he's got that personality where he's footy. Like, he's footy. And he's like, he texts 24 hours a day. And it didn't work. You know, it was one of them. We think we got 3 games in. And the club text. There was a couple of incidents that happened, which I won't go into, which weren't very nice. And the club has said, nah, it's not for us. We don't want that anymore. So on the back of that, so again, just a random text that I got told there was an under-21's team for St Helens Town that were looking for a new manager. Their manager, the way it worked, their reserve manager stepped up to be the first team manager that he'd went up to and blah, blah, blah. So I ended up applying for that. What I didn't know at the time was Caleb had applied for the 2 of us to go in together to do it as a joint manager thing. So you can imagine when I got the phone call off the first team manager, he rang and he said, I'm a bit confused. I've got these 2 things. So I had to then say to him, well, I just want to go see if I can do it on my own. Which wasn't a lie. I did. I wanted to go and test myself. Because obviously I'd been an assistant with Todd. I'd done a joint manager thing that never worked. So I thought, well, actually, I'm 22. I actually want to go and give it a go. So went and met Jenko. I had a chat with Jenko, who was the first team manager at the time. Told him, because literally at the time, we had the lads that we had at Skem, I took a couple of them to witness, and then still had that bank of players. So what he said, you know, there isn't a team. The lads who were there have left. Would you be able to put a squad together? Which I would have. I said, yeah, fine, I can do that. It took about 5 days to get back to me though. So I think I went for the interview on the Saturday. I've got back to me to the Wednesday. And it was, right, you've got the job, you've got training tomorrow. Goes on the Thursday to training. There was 1 lad. And he said, but Jen come messaged me and said, right, you've got half a pitch. We're not training. I'll get all the players there for you, the under-21's players. So goes 1 player. I think I'd managed to get about 8 lads to train them, obviously with the day's notice. Gets there. You can't do nothing with 9 lads, you know what I mean? So, does whatever at training. Friday and Saturday, I don't think I've ever been that active on a phone. Like ringing round trying to get a squad together. And somehow, I don't even know how I done it, but I got a squad of like 15 lads for the Sunday, and we were playing Stockport Town at home. Now, if you look at if we were playing on a Sunday in the Northwest Under-21 Development League, if you look at that league's unbelievable, you know. Yeah. Teams like Stockport Town, there was Tranmere in it when we were there, Macclesfield were in it last year, Salford have been in it. Then you've got your lower league sides of Northwich, Earlham, Wythenshawe, Ramsbottom were in it as well, Witton Albion. And then there was us, St Helens Town. So we had Stockport on the Sunday. Gang of like horrible Scouse kids turns up in St Helens. So went 2-0 up after like 12 minutes, 15 minutes. And I'm stood there on the line thinking, piece of this. Fucking all day flying. Got beat 6-2. so that was a bit of a wake up, and I don't think we won. So there was a lad who come in to do it with me, little Joe McCann. Knows his stuff. Again, another one who's full on. It's just footy. He wants to do everything right, and I'm the same. You know, if you want to do stuff, you want to do it right. So we ended up getting the lads trackies and stuff, trying to do everything as professional as we can. He come in to do it with me, but we didn't win a game for like, must have been about 7 or 8 weeks, or 7 or 8. Might have been pushing 10 games that we didn't win a game for. And in that time, like, you're looking and you're thinking, fucking hell, giving me time up here. But in reality, we had a really good squad. We had the likes of Kieran Cullen, he played for us. Phil Erin, who was playing for AFC Liverpool until a couple of weeks ago. Joe Richards, Joe Tomo plays for the Nalo now. We had like a really good base of a squad. You just couldn't play together. Like, it just would not click at all. Leon Conway played for us as well. So we had the really good base of individuals, just wouldn't work as a team.
Why do you think that was?
I take some of the blame on it. you know what I'm like. I take like if things don't work, I look at myself first. I just don't think we were, as coaches and as a manager, I just don't think we were strong enough. It was just we turned up, and because most of them were my mates, so it was like you were turning up and you're just playing with your mates and stuff. Lads were coming in smoking weed, and it was like, it wasn't great.
Do you think part of that was an age thing? Because even for a coach now and all you've accomplished, you're very young. Do you know what I mean? For a coach,
you wouldn't say so.
For a coach, you're very young. Do you know what I mean? And you've done so much in 7 years of coaching, is it? So do you think at that point, and this brings me on to another question really, is maybe I'm picking the easy target here, but has it ever been hard going in at such a young age into these, because they're big clubs really for a young person to be going into, for a young coach?
Yeah, because when you go in, you're not just going in, so it does my head in this stereotype of when people say, you're only a manager, you only pick the team. I fucking don't. You try and manage a group of 25 kids who all want to play every weekend. You try and get them to pay 20 quid a month. You try and get them to put a fucking kit in a bag. Do you know what I mean? Try and get them to leave a change spotless. Try and get them to turn up on time. Try and get them to turn up at all. Like my phone, when I was managing and stuff like that, my phone didn't stop. From Friday to Sunday kick-off, your phone doesn't stop. You're getting lads who drop out last minute, or they're dropping out on a Friday, so then you're ringing someone else, can you come and play now? Well, no, I can't because I've made plans.
Or they're telling you on the Tuesday they got a rave on the Saturday and they're not going to be there.
Yeah, or like, honestly, there's some of the excuses you get when you're doing it. It is unbelievable, and I take my hat off to everyone who does it, because I just think it's fucking hard. It's not easy. But the stereotype of, you're only on the side, you only pick the team. No, I don't.
I think the hardest thing as a manager, and I've managed and I've coached, so being both sides of the coin, I much appreciated coaching more because I don't need that responsibility, like, you know what I mean? But it's not a game of footy manager.
It's not.
It's not a game of footy. It's not putting players into formation
it's not FIFA.
And telling them to gegenpress.
Yeah.
It's not that at all. It's getting lads out of bed who've, in my experience, because I've coached open age, I've managed open age, in my experience, it was getting lads out of bed who've been working all night. Or it was getting an 18-year-old kid there every morning, starting every week, and making sure it wasn't all about him. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And then trying to get all the other lads to fit in around him who are much older. Do you know what I mean? It's not.
I said it. We've done it with someone who we were speaking to on the podcast. Managing a grassroots side is a full-time job without the full-time wage. Yeah. There was points where I was going into town to pick someone up for a game that was the other side of Manchester. That's 2 hours. That's 2 hours before I've even got there. Put the kit out, set the warm up, pick the team, and you're on the side for 90 minutes, and it's full on 90 minutes when you're doing it. Like that's the way I am anyway. Like I take a full on interest because I want to do it. Do you know what I mean? I'm not just turning up just to please someone. I'm there because I want to be there and I want to do that in a career type of thing. And it's full on. So you do your 90 minutes, then you're coming off. Got to give 2 team talks, one after 45 minutes. When if you're 4-0 down, your head's chocker, but you've then got to go in the changes and say and be relaxed and say, well, we need to do this, and this. But you could have 6 lads when you go in who come back in and say, well, I don't fucking agree with that. What do you do then? Do you know what I mean? You've got to. So it is tough. Like people think it's easy, but it's not. Like, but then again, you know, I've chose to go down that path of doing it. So.
It's a hazard of the job, innit?
Yeah.
And I think it is hard. I think it would be hard going in that environment at 22 years old and you've got lads around your age or at 19 years of age, because again, like you, I managed at that age. I was 18, 19, managing lads my own age, and it was hard. But I think going into an environment like that where it's practically professional and everyone thinks they're going to make it and it's being treated as a professional and you're going in at 19, 20 years of age, I don't know how you managed to do that and get everyone on side.
It's fucking hard. Did we get everything right? No. It was got about probably 80% of stuff wrong.
You're not going to though, are you, at that age?
No, that's not a criticism. I'm not like saying that as a criticism or anything like that, but 80% of stuff we probably got wrong, even down to like the choice of training sessions. There was one training session, and he won't mind me saying, he probably won't even listen. Leon, so Joe was doing a training session, and Leon just started kicking a ball. Now, I'm really good mates with Leon's older brother. So Leon is like a younger brother. Do you know what I mean? But so then I'm having to tell Leon off on the footy pitch in training because he's booting a ball, but he's booting a ball around because he's been stood around for 15 minutes and he's cold. So how'd you come back to that? Do you know what I mean? What are you doing, Leon? Well, I'm cold. It's December, it's in the middle of winter. So when I say like we got stuff wrong, so like that type of training session, you've got to be switched on to think, well, everyone needs to be moving because it's fucking freezing. It's like 4 degrees. You can't have people stood around in a pair of shorts. And that might sound, people might listen to that and think, footy players fucking get on with it. You know what I mean? But ultimately, if I'm there putting this, or if Joe, who was doing it at the time, was there putting that session on, I'd be, as the manager, I'm expecting all the lads to be listening to what he wants, and he wanted Leon to be stood still at that time. But then he shouldn't have been because it was December and it was fucking freezing. So do you get what I mean? When I say like we didn't get everything right, so even like down to that, sometimes you never get your team sheet, you get beat. We got beat when you were working with me. It was always, what have we done wrong there?
Yeah.
And most of the time, and 50% of the time is we never done nothing wrong. We got the team right, we got the formation right, we got the substitutions right, stuff like that. Sometimes teams are just better than you. Most of the time when we were at St. Helens, the teams were just better than us because they were more equipped, because they were training 3 or 4 times a week. Because
do you not think then that you're sort of like set up to fail in that league, playing against the likes of your Tranmere's and your Salfords and stuff, and use the St. Helens Towns, we're in a big club, no budget, and then they've got all these kids who potentially could be playing professional football in a few years?
I wouldn't say we were set up to fail. I think more along the lines of we didn't set it up right to be successful. That's my...
As a club or as a coaching team?
As a manager, I don't think I had the right players in there. I think I'd done it more on reputation than squad. So I knew that they were good lads and knew they were good players. So away from football, unbelievable group of lads. At football, great individual players. Together as a squad, it didn't work. But...
So how long were you at St. Helens then?
I was at St. Helens for 3 years.
And what was there a turning point? Was there a point where it started?
Yeah. No, not that there wasn't a turning point. There was a game where after it had come away and I thought, I've had enough, I'm done. We went to Salford and we got beat 13-1. And there was 2 lads we had 2 lads fighting on the pitch. 1 lad walked off. We had no subs. So we went to Salford City, who at the time were going through that big push and that big thing under the Neville and all that. Goes to their training ground. It's actually on camera. We got beat 13-1. Jay Webb, centre half, and P.O. Curtis Pearson. Something happened, can't remember what happened. And Webbo said something. Webbo's had a go at P.O., so P.O.'s had to go back. And then he just started arguing on the pitch. Nearly come to blows. Webbo's just walked off the pitch. Just walked off. Like I think we had like 2 subs, but we had 2 injuries, so we'd already made the subs. Webbo just walks off the pitch. So when I seen him walk off, I thought, that's me, that. Because I thought, how'd you come back from that? How'd you come back from getting beat 13-1? 2 of your lads fighting. One's walked off the pitch and left you with 10 men on the pitch. There's no coming back from that.
Do you regret getting off, or do you think you could have...
No, not one little bit.
Do you not think, though, that it would have made more of a statement for yourself to stay, turn it round and go and win the next game?
No, because I'm smart enough in myself to know when I've had enough, and I know when something's not going to work for me. That I get that could sound selfish, but I'm not going to put myself through something that I don't think's going to work, or I don't think I can do. When that game happened, I thought, I can't do that. That's not for me. So, and at the time, was I enjoying it? No. And ultimately, I do it because I enjoy doing it. I love going to footy every weekend. I've always said that. And once you lose that love, or not that love, that sounds weird, but once you lose that thing of where you enjoy going and you're doing it for yourself and you're doing it for the lads in the group, you should. That's it. It's done. There's no getting that back. Do you know what I mean?
They see through it as well, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
And they know when you don't want to be there.
Yeah.
And then it ends up, it's just a vicious circle, it gets worse and worse.
And I'm not the type of person to hide my feelings either. And you know, like if I've got something to say, I just say it. Sometimes I do it where I just don't think and I just fucking say it, and then I'm like, oh, what have I said that for? But like you just said, the lads pick up on that. If I'm going in and I'm just stood there and I'm just blasé about everything, just maybe 13-1. My team talk was put the kids in the bag, let's go. That was it after the game. And I've been in changing rooms where we've been beat and I've fucking lost the plot. Like, I've lost my head. Like, I'm not throwing things, but like, I've lost my head and had to leave to go and calm down because things weren't right in the game and we got beat. But after that game, it was like, oh, no point. So I knew literally as soon as Webber walked off the pitch, I knew, like, I'm off.
So what was so you left St Helens. How long was it before what was Knowsley South come calling?
So I'd met Mike Gibbons and Chris Jones earlier on when I was at St Helens. I'd met Chris on the U23’s licence, so on the course. And we just got to speaking, and through talking, he told me that what was going on at Knowsley, and I'd met Mike at a Bootle game that I'd went to watch when Chris was the manager there. So just through speaking to them, and he told me about the thing, and I was like, oh, that sounds interesting, I wouldn't mind being involved. But it gave me that time to have like a 2-3 month break from it. So that was more appealing. You can have that break, and then in pre-season get back to it. Sound. Like, I'm all for that. So speaking to them, I wasn't really offered. It was just like a thing of, I've got that. You know what I mean? And then through Chris and through Noah and Mike, and it ended up that I had it. So
there was a point where you'd end up getting it. How did, because bear in mind, I know the machinations of the club and how it's sort of weird. So when did you end up taking over?
So I never really got it. Like, or we never really took over, sorry. We started it in like the June.
So it was a new team?
Yeah, it was a new team. It was a whole completely new setup. So we started in like the June, July, just with like trials and stuff. I remember turning up here actually, and I was a bit confused. So we turned up here, and none of this was here. It was just 2 cabins at the back, and it was like, right, it's a trial session. So I came under the impression that it was a trial session for both teams, first team under 21s. And then halfway through it, something happened where I was messing about. I was doing something. I think I think Chris was tying his legs and I pushed him over. And he stood up and he half told me off. And he was like, you know, it's your trial session. What do you mean it's my trial session? You should be watching the fucking players. What do you mean it's my trial session? It's our trial session. He was like, no. He said, these are all players for you. And then it clicked then. I was thinking, oh no, I haven't even been looking at anyone. So that type of thing, because in the back of my head I thought, well, I know this lad, I know this lad, I know this lad. So that was more like a learning, because I just turned up, like, and I wasn't that bothered and was just there and to show me face and stuff. And then when I done that and he told me off, I was thinking, shit, like, it's actually quite serious. It's quite, it's gonna, do you know what I mean? Like a type of realisation at that point. And then it just took on from there. So we then was here training twice a week throughout the summer and that, at pre-season games. I brought an assistant manager in who was with me at St Helens after Joe left, Jay Campbell. So he came in, he brought a couple of lads with him from Southport who we knew. We went in the same league because through whatever Chris had done, we got to keep our place in the Prem division, but just changed the name to Knowsley South as it was. So we went in there. So when the league started, we played Northwich our own first game, and we built a side, and we were confident, and we won, like 1-2-1. I was thinking, sound, happy days. That was on the Sunday. We went to Macclesfield away, at Platt Lane where City used to train. So like went there on Wednesday, like the same squad. Got absolutely slaughtered 2-0. That 2-0 just sounds like it didn't get slaughtered, but we were lucky that it was 2-0. That was one of the games where you come off, and I had a go at them because I thought, nah, I'm not turning up for that. Come from work. I think I was working with you at the time. Come from work, and then just to get there, and they weren't asked. It was like they obviously were asked, but it was like they wasn't asked. So that was a bit of a wake-up call. And then we went on a bit of another bad run. I sound like a shit manager here, don't I? Went on another bad run and didn't win. Chris used to say to me, Jay Campbell doesn't win games in October, November, December. Because every fucking way you go, you just don't win until the sun comes back out, until like the warm weather comes back. But like, so we won. We didn't win, must have been for weeks. It got to like Christmas, and then Jay left. There was a game against Earlham, and his issue was that he thought that Chris had picked the team. he thought Chris had texted me a team and said that team needs to play, but Jay had a different idea. But I'd went with what Chris had said. Play this lad centre half, go 3 at the back, blah, blah, blah. But Jay wanted to go 4, wanted to do something different. Ended up getting beat 3-1. And there was a point where I remember Chris saying it to me after that. Mike had clocked about me. The game was going on, and I was just walking around the pitch, just going to get the footies. We had footies all over the gaff with Kirby. And I just started walking around, getting the footies. I didn't think nothing about that then. But then other people watching would text me, what's going on, why are you doing that? Me and Jay weren't getting on, type of things, and he left after that game. And we brought Guy in. But it was only then that I thought I was falling out of love with that again. Type of thing, that makes sense?
Yeah.
So, but I didn't know about it in my own head until I was walking around picking them footies up, and I was just like, I don't want to be here. Getting beat again. But then when Guy, it was one of them, people had fell out with each other, it wasn't working with me and Jay, and he went somewhere else, and he's done his own thing ever since, and we're back speaking now, but he left. We brought Guy in, who's been with me ever since.
I think Guy's boss, by the way. I just want to put that Guy's sick. Guy's a great guy. So I did a little bit of a personal question then. At what point did you ask? Because it was like August 2020, when you said to me to come down and watch this one game.
Yeah, just after the lockdown.
Yeah, you were playing St Helens. Yeah. So that season, how did that season go?
The one after the first lockdown.
Yeah, so the one after the first lockdown, because that was when it started. Or I got the feeling it was that season that it started to change. The club started to change, but you seemed a little bit more professionalised as well.
Yeah, so that team that I had from this end of the first lockdown, obviously going back in the pre-season, from August 2020 till when we then got locked down again. That's the best group of lads I've had. So you had the likes of Aidan McCarthy, who's Aidan, he's unbelievable, like really, really technical. Runs his ass off for you.
Listens as well.
Key Plummer. Now, Plummer, he won't be happy that I've said. He's not the greatest footballer in the world, but secondly, he'll do things where you think that's really good, and he'll run and he'll tackle and he'll fight until he can't no more. We had Nudes, Josh Nugent, Sean McVeigh, Kyle Hayes. We had Jed Windle, Ewan Beckwith, Jay Walton, just all really, really good lads who, they weren't going out as a team every week and after every game and getting pissed, and in the group chat they weren't like socially fucking brilliant, but they turned up every week, no issues. Cullo eventually came in, Kieran Cullen. There was a week in that. Bear in mind, everyone's had to dealing with the shit that was what was COVID and what the government were wanting us to do and stuff like that. Everyone's dealing with that in their own little way. So as footy was like our little escape from it. Like you turned up to footy, you played footy, couldn't go for a bevy after it. So like that was your release. You went to work or you were working from home. You were dealing with it, all the shit that was coming with it, but you got to play footy. Footy was still a thing then. So there was a week when they introduced them stupid fucking tier things, where we played Stockport Town at Kirby when we couldn't play here. We played Stockport Town, we beat them 1-0, and like we battered them. I think we hit the bar, we just couldn't score. But then we scored, and Gibbo in the last minute when he was in goal made an unbelievable save. I don't even know how he got his hand to it, but he tipped the ball onto the bar. Someone cleared it. The referee blew his whistle. So that tells you like how close it could have been. Do you know what I mean? To a 1-1 draw. So we beat them 1-0. They introduced this tier system. I think they put Liverpool in tier 2 and Manchester were in tier 3. So at the time it was confusion about whether you could travel from tier 2 to tier 3 to play, or you could go from tier 2 to tier 2, or just all that fucking looking at your faces now, you just fucking can't even get your heads on it.
I can't get I do remember.
Just don't get Jay started on these toys.
We went to play, we had Earlham on a Thursday night. Now Earlham can only host games on a Thursday night, so their home games are always Thursdays. So we went on the Thursday, but when all day Wednesday and all all day Thursday leading up until I left work and then went to go there. We didn't know whether we could actually go. Like, no one would ever give us that. No one from the county FA, no one from the league would say, yeah, you can go. Or yeah, you can go and play there. Or no, you can't. You can't go. So no one knew. So we ended up going anyway. Fucking went. Goes. 0-0. 0-0, like an end-to-end game. I think we hit the bar twice, they hit the bar twice. They literally had a corner in the 94th minute of the game. Whips the corner in, centre-back heads it. It's the bar. We fucking smashes it the other end. And bear in mind, I'd left him on the bench and brought him on. And before he went on, he said, I'm going to score the winner. Ball gets fucking booted up. Plummer's one-on-one with the goalie. It's it. It's it right at the keeper. Worst shot I've ever seen. But the keeper spills it. Comes back to him, he puts it in. The whole fucking bench emptied onto their pitch. I'm fucking running up and down. The skipper at the time, Jack Rimmer, he comes running to celebrate with me. But I'm like, I've stopped celebrating then. So in my head, I've went straight back to manager thing and went, right, we're going to 5 at the back. I've said that in my head. Jack's come running to fucking jump on me and hug me. And I've just stopped him. Just went, no, stop. 5 at the back. Drop such and such in, we're going to 5 at the back. So killed his celebration, fucking dead. He was fuming. But literally before that, obviously with the Scouts and Mank thing, we'd been getting loads and loads of shit off like the people who were behind the dugout and that. So I'd said to the lads in the dugout who'd come off and they're like, oh, didn't get on. If we score now, every one of you fucking get on the pitch and we'll celebrate. And you know what it's like, you say that every fucking week, don't you? But so we go, but it was boss to see that. Every one of the lads went. Even Guy ran, and I don't see Guy run. Guy doesn't run. Do you know what I mean? Even he ran down the pitch to celebrate. So, 2 of the toughest teams in the league, we beat them. Okay, clean sheets. And then we were meant to have another Manchester team away, but then I didn't want to take the piss and maybe ruin it. Because after the game, their manager, the Ireland manager, had come and said, good win that for you, but you weren't really meant to be here, was you? So we just went, actually, mate, yeah, the county FA said we can come. I've got the email there if you want it. No, I'm not saying that. But he was. You know what I mean? He was trying to say that. In my head, he was saying, right, well, I'm going to fucking say to the league that he shouldn't have been here, so he won't get the 3 points. But, fuck him. So then we were meant to have this team, I can't remember who it was, but I'd managed to get it, Stadybridge. We were meant to play Stadybridge away, but I managed to get it switched. So that we were playing St. Helens Town, because they were still in our tier. And we beat them 4-0. That was, honestly, that's the best week of management I've had, because the group chat was, fucking sounds stupid, but the group chat was fucking booming. But again, it was around that time, you couldn't do anything. So the group chat was like another release from it, release from everything. Footies you release from it. And then, so that week, we didn't concede a goal. We beat 3 of the, established teams in that league, and we went top of the league. That's probably the best week I've had.
So, how come then, obviously, after Knowsley, you decided to leave and go to Pilkington? That's right, isn't it? What made you, after having such a successful year that year with Knowsley, and obviously everything that was happening in and around Knowsley, what made you decide to go to Pilkington?
So after that, so I say that's the best week we've had. After that, it was like, wasn't even a week before, it was like cut off and there was a lockdown. I think we only played one more game before, and got to like April and May, and they opened up everything up again. So the league got stopped and we ended up in a cup competition. Now I firmly believe it, and I'll fucking always say we should have won that. We ended up getting to the quarters and got beat by Macclesfield. On the day, rightly, but we should have won that. Should have won the whole thing, because on our day, no one was better than us. And I always say it, a team full of horrible Scouse kids, no one's beating them. Council estate kids, you're not out battling a council estate Scouse kid, because they have to battle for everything in everyday life. You know that in the job you do, I know in the job I do. Kids in this city, they fight for everything. Like, sometimes they're fighting to get some food.
I think when you see it, when you put them in that league as well, because we were the only Scouts team in that league. I think when you put us in that league as well, and everyone's coming for you, because you're the only Scouts team.
Yeah, odds are against you.
So the odds are against you, so it's backs against the wall. Do you know what I mean? And it's...
And who do you want to...
It comes to the fore there, like...
Yeah, who do you want in your fucking who do you want behind you when your back's against the wall? You want a fucking horrible little ratty Scouse kid.
Yeah.
And that sounds horrible when I'm saying that, but what I mean is a horrible ratty Scouse kid on a field will not give up, and he will not fucking, like, he will not shake harder tackles. He'll work his ass off. He'll run till he run himself into the ground. But from going from that, from the best team that we had, a lot of them dropped away because it was an under-21 side, so you could only have 3 over age. So going back to your question there, the year after that, when Dean come in, we didn't have 10 of them lads. So we didn't have the likes of Kyle A, Sean McVeigh. Who else went?
Plummer went.
Plummer went. We didn't have Aiden.
Didn't have Nuge.
Yeah. So we didn't have like the proper spine of the team. We had Owen, didn't we?
We had Owen. We kept Jed stayed on. Cullo stayed on.
Yeah.
I can't think who else went on. Gibbo went, didn't he? So we had to look for a new keeper.
So we basically had to find like a span of a new team. And yeah, it didn't really work. The third season didn't really work. We would end up relying on young kids, young like 18, 16-year-old kids who are not going to get anywhere in the under-21s league. Ultimately, I should have known that as a manager, bringing them in. But at the end of the day, you'd have to fill numbers and you'd have to fill a quota of players to get to a certain amount of money at the end of each month that has to be brought in to fund that team and to cover that team type of thing. So we got to like, I think it was March, it was February, March.
Yeah, it was March. I remember it.
Where I just said to these, I'm not enjoying it anymore. Don't want to come to footy anymore. I've got no reason why I'm doing it. So we just made the choice to leave. It didn't go down very well with certain people. And that's not a dig at any one individual, but a couple of people it didn't go down very well with because they thought that I was just getting off because we weren't doing so well in the league, and it looked like we were going to go down without a fight and that, but it wasn't the case, and it was more of, again, me being selfish and looking after myself of, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be in that environment anymore. So I made the choice to leave and have a couple of months where I could just go and watch footy without any pressure on myself and any ties to anything.
Pilkington then.
There's only amount of people who ask me about this when I see them.
This is the good thing about the podcast.
Yeah, well, this is the first time I've heard the story, because he did ring me when he joined Pilks and offered me to go with him, but I couldn't because of family issues and that.
You pop a kid out every fucking date night.
I've got about 900 kids. So I didn't go with him, and now I'm fucking glad I didn't go with him.
Yeah.
Before you start, the perception we got as like your mates and stuff was that basically in Pilkington, the employee then the mate got an injury and they fucked you off.
Well, yeah.
That's what it was like.
So the long story is, I put a tweet out to say that I wanted to get back into footy. I wanted to get back into coaching or managing, and I was looking for an opportunity in that. And Dan Hughes, who at the time was doing what the Pilks Resis, as they were then, text and said he didn't want to do it anymore. They were looking to set the 23's side up for in the summer. Would it be interested? Perfect. Open age league. It's like new fresh start, different club. Even like out the way a little bit. Do you know what I mean? You're away from like your little bit of a comfort zone. Out of my comfort zone, going into open age, right, when I've only been doing youth footy and that. So he gave me number to the first team manager, Palf, who ended up ringing me. We had a good conversation on the phone and everything sounded like a little bit of a dream, and yeah, we'll do this, and you know, any lads I haven't got will get dropped down to you, and any lads who are playing well for you will be brought up to play for us, and you know, we've got a lot of backing, and we're doing this and we're doing that. We've got state-of-the-art facilities, you'll have full access to all that. Fucking fine, so great, you know what I mean? So, ended up having to go and meet him for an interview and go and meet Mark Hayes, who was, at the time, had just stepped away from being Aston Town chairman. So goes to meet them, as a good conversation, explained what I could bring in terms of lads and the way we play football, and was just dead honest with them. You know, I can bring so many lads. Was open and said that they will be Scouse lads. we'll do this, I'll bring my own management team in, I'm not asking for loads of money. I was told to the team will have to cover the costs itself, fine, not a problem. So after I'd done that, it all sounded fucking sound. So I was going to actually watch the Resis. So I have to say out my own back, didn't even know I got the job at the time. But we're going to have a look at lads that I liked. Now, I was told it's under 23 side. You can have a couple of overage lads, but we need a main base of young lads who we can who the club can cherry pick from and who we can push from the under 18. So there's that pathway that's what they wanted. The main objective is you have to win the league. Sound okay? Be tough, but we'll give it a go. So then I had to go and meet the chairman. Not that Mark, they already had a chairman who was stepping down, so we had to go and meet him for his approval. So you fucking 3 interviews in before you've even been told you've got the job. So goes and meets him, and he was sound, like Jimmy, he was boss, like lovely fella, multi-millionaire, he's fucking living in Barbados now. You know what I mean? Just funds it. So goes and then gets a phone call, say, yeah, you've got the job. Start planning, but I'd already started planning. So ends up getting numbers and stuff for lads and putting a group chat together and setting dates, and we were getting asked by them to go down to set dates and to plan pre-season, because the way they wanted the pre-season to work was they wanted the first team and the 23s all in together. Me, Kyle, who was coming in as one of the coaches, and Nick Dunn to do 3 different sessions and just rotate it round. So I'd do that all day. So we were going and planning that. I was asked down to get me sizes for all the coaching gear and all that. So again, it all sounded like we were told, we're going to go and play Main Road away. Yous are going to come. Yous are going to play the Resis first in the first team, and then we're going to go on a night out in Manchester. Again, sound brilliant, sounds great. We're going to go and play Preston or whoever it was. We're going to go and play a team in Wales. We're going to play a team in Wales. Yous are going to come. We're going to go on a night out in Wales. We'll all get on a coach. It'll be great. Blah blah blah. Yeah, and then I thought we had an alright pre-season, to be fair. We had played Bersco 18s, first game of where our lads had been together. Got beat 4-2. Bersco 18s are very good, by the way. Very good side. Went 2-0 up, made 11 changes, got beat 4-2, which is always going to happen. But we're playing teams like St Helens Town first team, who, alright, aren't in the greatest of shape at the minute, but beat them 4-0. We played Garswood United, who were 2-3 leagues above where them that 23 side is, beat them 5-0. So you're going into the league, that was 2 weeks and a week before the season started. So you're going into the season full of confidence, and ultimately I couldn't make the first game of the season.
Wait there. He was on my stag do. And he was a groomsman at the wedding. Do you know what I mean? And they held it against him.
And do you know what? I did try and get out of it as well. No, so couldn't go. So obviously couldn't be at the first game of the season. So left Guy and Kyle in charge. Got beat 8-0. So that's not obviously not a great start.
That night, Dean Wright.
Don't forget I had a baby.
He was livid. We had the time for life on this stag do. It was a belter. And Jay was sat in the corner with a face like thunder because the team had been beat 8-0. But then, what else can you do, Jay?
I can fully imagine that, though.
I was fuming. But there was one of the lads who wasn't in the squad went and was texting me the score. So every fucking 5 minutes it was 1-0, 2-0, it's 3-0 now, 4-0. Got to 5 and I said, stop texting me. You're fucking ruining my day. So gets back off the stag do, and we took them boxing. So Josh is a pro boxer, one of the lads who played for us. So we asked him to do a PT session. So he takes them boxing and that. And I said to him, work them. Put them through the paces and work them. And to be fair, he did. And they all done it. But after it, in this random gym in Whiston, started bollocking them. Like, went into them, you just put a shift in pre-season. You made me look like a fucking idiot. You made him look like a fucking idiot. You made yourselves look like fucking idiots in front of the first team manager, chairman, first team coach, all watched that. I was getting sex off them while I was away on the stag do. It's not great, this. It's like, it's the first game of the season. Yeah, we've had a good pre-season, but it's not going to click. Bear in mind now that Upton in that league, top of the league, I think they've scored fucking 70 goals. It's November. You know what I mean? They're pumping teams week in, week out. So the next game after that was Adet and LR midweek, and we went drew 1-1. Respectable. We could have won it. I think we had 2 goals disallowed. Played really well. I think I ended up with 6 games. I think we drew 2, lost 4. The worst one being Moore United away, 1-0 up until like the 82nd minute. I could see the 2 of the worst goals I've ever seen in my life. Very identical. Right down the right channel. Gets played in. Centre half, literally just 3 centre halves, by the way, just stood there and went. Ball rolled past them, leg comes in, back post, scores. That's 1-1. He's fuming at that anyway. Same thing happened for the second one. Right hand side, plays the ball across all 3 of them, comes in, right channel, scores. So that wasn't great. But again, there was bits in it for 82 minutes of that game. We'd fucking battered them. Again, we had a goal disallowed. We did the bar, we did the post, battered them. But ultimately, you coming away, you've been beat. The last game was Bollington. We went to Bollington. We were another one, was second in the league, pumping teams week in, week out. We went, and Aiden, believe it or not, missed the open goal. Ball gets played across to him, keeper fucking spills it. All he has to do is tap it in, hits it with the wrong foot, hits his ankle, goes wide.
Oh no.
And you know yourselves when your luck's not in. So after that game, I think we got beat 4-0. I got them in a huddle and I was saying, just stick together. Just no point. Fucking bollocking them. They'd actually played really well. Said to them, just stick together, it'll click. You know, I'm not going anywhere, we're not going anywhere. We'll get back on the training pitch. We were doing PTs on Monday, training on Wednesday. So they had 2 training sessions, just getting the fitness and obviously the footy. You know, we'll get back in on Monday, we'll get training on Wednesday, and we'll just go again. Stick together. Don't be going home and texting me, you know, you're leaving, blah, blah, blah. And then I got home, put a tweet out saying like, it'll click, and when it clicks, we'll be sound. I think I'd slagged the referee off in the tweet. I said the referee was arrogant or something, which he was, fucking bellend. But the next thing, gets a phone call off the chairman. I thought, he's seen me slag the referee off, I'll have to take that tweet down. Answers it. Hello mate, blah, blah, blah. I just wanted to ring you, just, you know, it's not going great, is it? And I went, no, it's not. But, you know, when it clicks, I think we'll be all right. Yeah, well, you know, I'm just ringing just to let you know, we are going to go a different way with the 23s now. And when he said that, I was thinking, okay, so what's the different way? No, I thought he was ringing to tell me, we're going to get someone in to come and help you, or we're going to filter these lads down to come and play with you. They're going to be yours for 6 weeks or something like that. And I was waiting for him to say something, and he went, yeah, so thanks for everything. I was like, oh. I went, you're sacking me? Well, yeah, you know, your task was to win the league, and, you know, you're fourth from bottom. I said, yeah, but we've got a good squad and we're playing well. Well, that's not what I've heard. Said, well, you haven't been to watch? Well, I come to watch the first game. I've been to watch it in pre-season. I went, in that pre-season where we pumped teams 5-0, 4-0, but you've been to watch the team who've scored and fucking 8 goals, averaging 8 goals a game, and you've come to watch that game, and you're judging me off that. The best one was at Mersey Valley away. I half lost my head a little bit, and my words were, we're not coming to Manchester and getting beaten by a bunch of fucking wolves, sort your heads out. But then realised I had a couple of fucking wolves in the changes. So as soon as I said, sorry. Me and them said, sorry about that, shouldn't have said that.
It's good to get out of Liverpool.
Yeah,
and
it's great.
Fucking wolves.
It's great. Yeah, it's great to have wolves about. But on the phone, he said something like, or I can't remember if he said it on the phone or he said it to somebody after, and they told me. He said, you know, we're the St. Helens team, and he's in the change. He's saying, you know, we're not coming here and getting beat by fucking wolves. We're the St. Helens team. That was one of the reasons I got sacked. Now, I got sacked, and I'm not even shitting you. I got sacked at like 5 o'clock. Let's call it 5, 6 o'clock. It was the night of a fight on. I think it was the Fury fight. Might have been the Fury fight or the Fury or Joshua fighting. So I was going to Boozer. 5, 6 o'clock gets the phone call. By 1:45 of the next hour, they'd announced that there was a new manager. Bear in mind, he said to me on the phone, you know, I'm going to have to scramble around for the next couple of days now to find someone. Nah.
And the worst thing is the manager was a player for the first team who just had an injury.
Yeah, so they announced Marshy, Phil Marsh, within 40 minutes of them sacking me. Now I'm not bitter to Marsh because he's just jumped on an opportunity that he's been offered. You know, anyone would do the same. But I am very, very bitter of the way that it was done and the wait a day at least. You know what I mean? Wait fucking 4 hours before you say we've rushed the appointment. Don't lie to me on the phone and say, oh, we're gonna have to scramble for the next couple of days to find and keep the squad together. I've just put a message in telling all lads to stay together, stick together, and you should be sound. If you don't want me, that's sound. You know what I mean? But don't lie to me. Don't chat shit. So when they done that, I seen through it, and then some of the fucking messages I got were mad. I got accused of robbing 10 mitre footies. It's like, where the fuck does someone hide 10 mitre footies? Do you know what I mean? Like, they've obviously lost 10 mitre footies and then wanted them back. The best one, so I've obviously come back to Knowsley. So obviously, a couple of the lads wanted to come and play for us. So we were trying to get lads released and doing the usual channels, 7 days in. Gets a phone call off our gaffer. Pilks have complained that we've put 7 days in on a couple of players. I went, all right, okay. So I ended up getting in touch with the club secretary at Pilks. And turns out they'd been fined for a couple of admin issues when I was there. Didn't tell me. Apparently the fine had come through after they got rid of me. Worked out to like 120 quid worth of fines. It was like stupid little things like you didn't mark the referee, or this didn't come through, or you didn't do this and you didn't do that. Bear in mind, I did do it because that app that you have to do it on doesn't let you move on to the next thing until you've done everything. It was a lot of bollocks. And sorry for swearing. I know. But they wouldn't release any of the lads until I'd paid that money back. But then in one phone call we're saying, no, we don't want any of the money, we've paid it. We're just letting you know that, you know, we got this and blah, blah, blah. And then over text, where it's all fucking on down, where, you know, you can read it. It's written. Now we want the money back. It's like, but honestly, they sacked me.
Yeah.
I didn't leave them in the shit.
So obviously one of them players is one of our mates, Josh, who's done really well since coming to Knowsley with you and stuff. Do you think it was more a fact that they wanted to keep the players because they knew the players you'd brought in were decent and they knew that it would click eventually? Or do you think it was them being petty in a sense of, we've sacked you and you aren't taking your players either?
I don't really know. I don't really care, to be honest. Like, I'm asked about the fact of the way they went about sacking me. Like, it's footy, you know what I mean? You get sacked in footy. You get sacked in life, sound. You know what I mean? But just don't be bitter, just don't be sly about it, and then don't like use something that's happened that you haven't told me about to then say, well, we're not letting him play football. Because ultimately, it's not affecting me if they didn't release Josh or Aidan or Kyle or someone else. It's affecting those lads because they can't play football. But then, if those lads message them and say, oh, yeah, can you release me, please? Are they going to say, no, because Jay hasn't paid this fine? Which isn't a fine against me, by the way. It's not a fine to Jay Campbell, it's a fine to Pilkinson's. But I've then had to pay that. Do you know what I mean? So I'm paying a club fine for something that I haven't done, for something that I have done, but I've been told I haven't done it, to get lads who want to play footy released so they can play football.
You'd effectively been held to ransom, aren't you?
Basically, yeah.
For the sake of 3 players.
Yeah. And it's all on text, I've still got the text, it's all there.
It's not like they've signed a contract.
No. It's like, well, we've had to pay out for something, so we want the money back before we release these lads.
I think you've just funded Mark Hayes' pies for a few weeks, to be honest with you.
That's not nice. No, but like I said, I don't blame Marshy. I've got nothing against Marshy. But he was texting me saying, can you come and drop the Saki off? Well, no. Like, why am I going to drive to come and give you something that you want when you've done that? Like, honestly, it was just mad, and I am bitter about it. Yeah.
So how did you end up back here then?
So after that happened, I just got message after message after message. But then that wasn't my choice to leave. So I wanted to be back in footy. Didn't want to stop. So I was trying to get one-to-ones, coaching sessions and stuff. But with the amount of one-to-ones out there, it's hard. Do you know what I mean? So I ended up speaking to Dave, who's the U23’s manager here. And we were just talking, just randomly just talking. And I actually hinted at it. Said, I've still got my nosy tacky there. Like when we were talking, you said like you're going to try and get back into it. I said, I've still got my nosy tacky there with like an emoji, you know, the eyes ones with the side, basically saying, give me a job. and then like a couple of days later, he texted me and asked, do I want to come down? I think he texted me on like the Monday and they had a game on a Tuesday. So I come down on a Tuesday and I've fucking been here annoying everyone ever since.
So when was that? Early October, late September?
September. I don't think I lasted August at Pilks. I got 6 league games, and people might listen to it and say, "Yeah, well, he's just shite." Results,
you can't judge someone in 6 league games.
No, results wise, yeah, we were shite.
Yeah, but anyone who knows football, you can't judge someone on the first 6 games of their reign. It's even if that was in the Premier League, you say it's Watford.
Even the players that you did say who have played for you for years and stuff, and they've come here, they've done well here. So it shows if they would have given you time there, it would have clicked eventually.
It would have anyway, because I went down and watched it, and the players you had there, like JJ was there, Aiden was there. It would have eventually anyway, because they're too good.
JJ was there, who's, by the way, is probably the best player I've ever coached. Yeah. He is unbelievably good. He's brilliant, and he doesn't even watch footy. Big hippie.
He doesn't even know how good he is.
No, he
JJ,
doesn't.
He's unbelievable.
He's the biggest space cadet I've ever met, but he's the best football player I've coached. Lad, I've brought him here, Tom Anna. Tom Anna would find space in a single bed with Gemma Collins. Honest, he would find space anywhere on that pitch. He runs games of football. Other lads, mine's gone blank, but like
Josh and Kyle.
Josh hadn't played for about 7 years before he come and played the Pilks. Learning a new position. Was he always fantastic? No. But he'll be the first to say, no, it wasn't always fantastic. But he's getting into the rhythm of being a very, very good footballer. I hate it when he scores, though.
And he's come here and scored 2 goals.
I hate it when he scores. Like, you'll laugh, right? But we were here, and the ball come out to him, and he's hit it. I can't remember whether it went wide or over the bar and that. And then like 5 minutes later, it's happened again. The ball's come rolling out to him at the edge of the box, and I've shouted, "Oh, not him!" And he's hit it, and it's fucking flew in. But he heard me say, "Not him." So we turned around, and he's fucking like pointing at me, laughing and all that. So it's got like this running joke with him now. But again, he's learning a new position, and he's doing very, very well. Kyle. You know Kyle.
Kyle Potter.
Yeah. I have not seen
raw as fuck, mate.
Raw as fuck,
yeah.
Right? Never seen a kid that fast. He scares people when he's running. Because people hear that coming up behind them, and they think, shit, what the fuck's that? And it's this big fucking unit with a big fucking curly fucking wig just running at you. He scored the other day. First game, first touch, fucking in the box, scored. He's like, and I'm not just saying it because of like we're dead close and stuff like that, but he is very raw, and if he puts the rawness of, or if he puts the effort into the football as what he does to fucking other things, then he could go far in non-league, and he could go and get paid for it. Say this to him one time.
There's a couple of players there that were like that though. Caleb was another one where he was raw. Yeah. But if you could harness it, like Caleb on his day was unplayable. Yeah. And I still believe that because he was that typical Scouse kid.
Ratty Scouse kid.
He was a horrible Scouse kid, yeah. Had a couple of sendings off, but he's a 16-year-old lad. Do you know what I mean? And Kyle's another one, if you just manage to harness it, like when it clicks for them, when the penny drops for them in about 3 or 4 years' time, they're going to be scary players.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Fully agree with that.
Before we do wrap it up, Jay, since you've come back here, you're doing really, really well. Beating teams for fun, flying up the league. Do you have any regrets about going to Pilks and not staying here, knowing that you could have been the manager of the team now rather than the assistant? Or do you think it works well, you taking that step back to be an assistant?
Can I rephrase that question, do you mind?
Go on.
Do you regret leaving here in the first place?
No.
Right. Do you regret... this sounds like a silly question now. Do you regret taking the Pilks job?
No.
Okay, that's not the answer I was expecting, to be honest.
I don't regret taking the Pilks job because I put myself out of my comfort zone. Yeah, it didn't work out, and for want of a better word, I was fucking slide. But you don't know until you try. I'm someone who looks at things and thinks, well, I'll give that a go. Went to America, like I said before, I went to America on my own. That's massively out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
So I like to I'll give anything a go. Like I'm not... Like I got offered the Resi's job. I got offered that job before the season when you come in and said no. Do I regret that? No. I don't look back and regret things. I regret certain decisions when on match days where you haven't started that lad, or you haven't played this shape, or you didn't make that sub then.
But that's with the benefits of
hindsight.
hindsight.
That's hindsight, but I don't regret decisions because you don't get that experience.
Do you think it's good for you then, I'll rephrase it again, do you think it's good for you then coming into the reserves here and learning from another manager in an age system that you haven't so much been in much before?
So 100%. The gaffer, Dave, he's unbelievable. He's all there. He's a lovely fella, and he's all in. Like, he gets the lads doing 6 1Ks, and they've got to be done every week. They've got to be in by Wednesday at 8 o'clock. If not in by Wednesday at 8 o'clock, you're not considered for Saturday. If you're not at training, you're not considered. There's like nearly 30 lads signed on. There's 30 we get 30 lads at training at some point. 30 is an exaggeration. 20, 26, 27 we've had on a third of a pitch at Jeffrey Humble.
All right.
There's nearly 30 lads there for the 23s. That says a lot about Dave. Doesn't that? I don't take credit for that. I've brought 5 lads with me. Like that's testament to him and to what he's built. And he says it all the time. Like, he's still the squad that we've got on the start of a journey. They are, and they're a very, very good squad. And there's some unbelievably talented players in there. And since I've come in with Guy, because Guy's come in as well, we've brought lads that have only just raised that bar. Like I said before, Tom Anna, unbelievable footballer. Aiden, brilliant footballer. Josh Wright, will eventually be a very, very good footballer. Same with Kyle. And Dylan Murphy, a centre half. He's just slotted. Them lads who've come in, I call them my lads, they're not our lads, but them lads who've come in and he's just slotted them, fitted right in and took the team to another level. The top of the league now.
So to wrap it up then, Jay, what's next for Jay? You going to be looking forward to staying with Knowsley as reserves manager? You're always on the lookout for new opportunities, and I'm going to ask your own question back at you that you've asked everyone else. What advice would you give to any coaches wanting to go into the game? You've asked me privately if I would ever go back into management. Yeah. At the minute, no.
Really?
Yeah. So at the minute, I wouldn't go back in, but then again, on the flip side of it, I could look at something and say, well, I like to look at that. But right now, we're at being assistant manager with Dave. I fucking love it because I haven't got all the responsibility that comes with managing a side. I can just go and coach, and I can just go and enjoy myself. Sometimes that's detriment because, you're looking and you think, well, I would do this. But Dave takes my advice on board. He tells me all the time, you're valued here, I'll take your opinions, blah, blah, blah. So, what's your second bit? Your advice? The question you ask everyone to finish? No, you asked me the first bit, then the second bit, and then that was the first bit. The second
would you go back into management was the first question?
And you said
no. I've answered that.
And the last bit was the thing you ask everyone when we're wrapping up a podcast.
My advice to anyone who wants to get into coaching is do your own thing. Don't look at something and say, I want to do that. Don't look at Jurgen Klopp or Pep Guardiola's teams and say, my team's going to be Jurgen Klopp's team. Because it's not. No matter what you do or who you bring in, your team will never be Liverpool, and they'll never be Man City, and they'll never be Chelsea. So take your own style. People say, people say, I've had what's my philosophy? I haven't got a philosophy. What I want to do is turn up to footy, enjoy myself, win a game, and come home and just be happy. Do you know what I mean? But if you're starting out, have an idea that represents you. Don't look at what the coaches and say, well, I'm just going to follow Jurgen Klopp or I'm going to follow Eddie Howe because they're doing well at the minute. Just enjoy yourself. Leave it there. Nice one, Jay, for being interviewed by your own podcast. Just made his ego bigger. That's not nice. Nice one to Dean as well for coming on and helping me interview Jay and letting Jay tell his story. We've got some boss guests lined up. Can we say what our next one is yet, Jay? No. Okay. He doesn't know yet. But yeah, nice one to everyone who's been watching and sharing and all that good stuff on YouTube and Spotify and iTunes. It's absolutely flying. Although we did Jay miss Dave McNabb. We should have got him on this week. I know, fuming. But Dave's just been announced at Macclesfield. So that episode's flying, which is good. Good luck to him, what a fella. And yeah, if you are listening, do not forget to go and check out AFC Knowsley. Come down, support them, go and get some of the merch. They're kindly letting us use this fantastic facility every single week. And if you need any joinery work as well, Fields Joinery is your
you're meant for that. We can't thank our sponsors enough from day one, but nice one for everyone for listening, and we'll be back next week.